Welcome to today's video. If you've ever found yourself caught in emotional games or mind tricks in a relationship, today's video will provide you with timeless wisdom. We're diving into Stoicism, a philosophy that helps you navigate the ups and downs of life, including those tricky relationship moments. Let's explore how to outsmart emotional games with the power of Stoicism and emotional intelligence. Let's get started. Segment 1, The Power of Stoicism, 015. First, let's talk about Stoicism. This ancient philosophy teaches us that we can't control the actions of others, but we can control our reactions. This is key when someone is playing with your emotions or trying to manipulate your heart. Instead of reacting impulsively, Stoicism encourages you to step back, detach, and observe your emotions before responding. Segment 2, Emotional Games in Relationships. Emotional manipulation, or playing games in a relationship, can be incredibly subtle but incredibly damaging. These games can take many different forms, whether it's mixed signals, where you're constantly unsure of how the other person feels about you, or push and pull behavior, where they pull you in only to push you away again. And then there's the extreme case of emotional blackmail, where they may use guilt or fear to control your actions or decisions. This behavior can make it extremely difficult to navigate the relationship, especially if you're emotionally invested. You might find yourself walking on eggshells, trying to anticipate their next move, or wondering why they keep switching between hot and cold behavior. It's easy to feel like you're constantly trying to decode a puzzle that never seems to have a clear solution. The hardest part? The fact that these games often don't feel like games at all. They can feel real, confusing, and hurtful, leaving you questioning your own worth. But recognizing these behaviors is the first step in protecting yourself and preventing further emotional damage. It's about understanding the dynamic at play and deciding that you're not going to allow yourself to be manipulated any longer. Segment 3, Recognizing the Signs. So how do you know if you're being played? If you find yourself constantly unsure about where you stand, it's time to step back and take a good look at the situation. One of the most common signs of emotional manipulation is inconsistency. They may say one thing, but do another, leading to confusion. One moment, they may be saying that they care about you, and the next moment, they might be cold and distant. This push-pull behavior is exhausting and signals a deeper issue. Another major red flag is contradictions. What they say and what they do don't line up. They may tell you they're committed to the relationship, but their actions don't match their words. Maybe they make promises, but never follow through. It can be especially tricky because these contradictions often leave you questioning whether you're misinterpreting things or if you're just being too sensitive. Another sign is that you're always guessing. You never quite know where you stand, and that uncertainty creates an emotional roller coaster. One minute, they're affectionate and loving, and the next, they seem indifferent or even hostile. If you constantly feel on edge, like you have to perform or act a certain way to avoid triggering their negative reaction, it's time to consider that this might be emotional manipulation at work. In these situations, it's important to ask yourself, am I constantly feeling confused, hurt, or uncertain? Am I always waiting for the next shift in their behavior? If the answer is yes, it's a strong indicator that you're dealing with emotional games. Segment 4, Detaching emotionally. Now, how do you deal with emotional manipulation or games once you recognize them? One of the most important tools in your emotional toolkit is detachment, And I don't mean detaching from the person or the relationship completely. What I'm talking about is emotional detachment, a principle found in Stoic philosophy. Emotional detachment doesn't mean you stop caring about the person or that you stop loving them. Instead, it means you stop letting their unpredictable behavior dictate your emotional well-being. The key here is to protect your inner peace. When someone plays emotional games, the instinct might be to react immediately, to try to get clarity or to confront them. But often, acting out of emotion only leads to more confusion and conflict. Instead, try to step back, take a deep breath, and gain some perspective. Give yourself the time and space to process what's happening before you react. By detaching emotionally, you can respond to the situation in a way that aligns with your values and sense of self-worth, rather than just reacting to their behavior. Think about it. When you detach emotionally, you take away the power that these games have over you. You regain control of your own emotions and your response to the situation. And most importantly, you stop allowing the manipulator to dictate your mood or your life. When you can step back and approach the situation with a clearer mind, you're better equipped to make decisions that protect your mental and emotional health. Emotional detachment empowers you to act from a place of strength rather than out of fear or insecurity. Segment 5, the dichotomy of control. In Stoicism, one of the most powerful lessons we learn is the concept of the dichotomy of control. Essentially, this teaches us that while we cannot control the behavior or actions of others, we can control how we respond. In relationships where emotional games are at play, this is an incredibly important distinction to make. For example, if someone is playing games with you, whether it's sending mixed signals, pulling you in and pushing you away, or even using guilt as a form of control, their actions are beyond your control. But your response? That's entirely up to you. You have the power to choose how you react. It might be tempting to match their behavior, to react emotionally, or to get caught up in the drama they create. However, Stoicism teaches us that your emotional well-being doesn't have to be dictated by another person's actions. You don't have to let their manipulation, inconsistency, or push and pull behavior decide how you feel. The key here is recognizing that you have a choice. And by choosing a thoughtful, measured response, you protect your peace. When faced with emotional games, always ask yourself, what is within my control right now? The answer will help guide you in making decisions that align with your values, instead of reacting impulsively to someone else's actions. Segment 6. Practicing indifference. At first glance, the idea of indifference might seem cold or uncaring, but in Stoic philosophy, indifference doesn't mean being emotionally detached in a way that makes you distant or cruel. Instead, it means developing a kind of emotional resilience where external events no longer have the power to disrupt your inner peace. When emotional games are being played, it's easy to get sucked into the chaos. You might feel like you need to react, to challenge their behavior, or to confront them every time they send mixed signals or manipulate you. However, Stoicism encourages us to practice a form of indifference, where we refuse to let these outside circumstances trigger unnecessary emotional responses or cause drama in our lives. Think about it. If someone is being inconsistent, if they're pulling you in one moment and then pushing you away in the next, your emotional reaction to that is completely up to you. Indifference in this case means that you don't get lost in the emotional highs and lows of their behavior. Instead, you maintain your sense of calm and control. By practicing this type of detachment, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster that often comes with manipulation and emotional games. And most importantly, it means you can handle these situations with maturity and wisdom, without getting swept up in unnecessary conflict. Segment 7. Mastering your own emotions. One of the core tenets of Stoic living is mastering your emotions. In moments of emotional manipulation or games, it's essential to take a step back and pause before reacting impulsively. When someone plays with your emotions, it's natural to feel a surge of frustration, anger, confusion, or sadness. But reacting to these feelings in the heat of the moment can often lead to more chaos and hurt. Instead of letting these emotions control you, Stoicism teaches us to acknowledge the emotion, but then let it pass. It's okay to feel. Our emotions are valid, but the power lies in not letting those emotions rule us. When you recognize that someone is trying to manipulate or play games with you, you are in control of whether or not you let that affect you. This is where emotional mastery comes in. By practicing mindfulness and self-awareness, you can observe the emotion, acknowledge it, and then choose to let it go. This might sound simple, but it's incredibly powerful. When you master your emotions, you free yourself from the hold that external events and people have on your peace of mind. This level of emotional control doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It means not letting them dictate your actions. You can acknowledge your emotions, understand why they're there, but then choose to let them flow through you rather than being controlled by them. It's this practice of emotional regulation that will help you rise above emotional manipulation and maintain your sense of inner peace. Segment 8. Keeping perspective. When someone plays games with your heart, it's easy to get swept up in the whirlwind of emotions, drama, and confusion. But this is where Stoicism offers a valuable lesson. Keep the bigger picture in mind. When you're caught up in the heat of the moment, it's hard to think clearly, but stepping back and reflecting on the situation can help you gain perspective. Ask yourself, is this person worth sacrificing your peace for? Emotional manipulation, inconsistent behavior, or emotional games may feel intense and personal, but in the grand scheme of things, is it worth letting these games affect your well-being? Sometimes the answer is no. Taking a step back helps you see the situation from a wider lens, helping you detach emotionally and avoid being dragged into the drama. The people we allow into our lives should contribute to our peace, not disrupt it. And if someone's behavior is causing more harm than good, it's essential to ask whether they truly deserve a place in your life. Stoicism encourages us to look at life from a broader perspective. When you feel like you're being manipulated or emotionally tested, remind yourself that you have the power to protect your peace. A moment of reflection can often reveal that what feels urgent or important right now may not be as significant in the long term. Segment 9. Avoiding reactivity. It's natural to feel anger, frustration, or confusion when someone is playing games with you, especially if their actions seem intentionally manipulative. But reacting impulsively out of anger or frustration often makes things worse. Lashing out might feel satisfying in the moment, but it usually leads to more conflict, hurt feelings, and a lack of resolution. Instead of acting in the heat of the moment, take a pause, take a deep breath, and reflect on your response. In this moment, ask yourself, what would a Stoic do in this situation? A Stoic would respond with calmness and thoughtfulness, not allowing emotional manipulation or games to control their reactions. By pausing and responding with composure, you immediately take away the power that the manipulator has over you. Their game thrives on getting an emotional reaction from you. But when you remain calm and controlled, you disarm their tactics. Responding with peace doesn't mean you're condoning their behavior. It means you're choosing to rise above it. This level of emotional control not only protects your own peace, but also helps you make decisions that are aligned with your values, rather than reacting out of frustration or desperation. Stoicism teaches us to master our emotions, not be controlled by them. Segment 10. Boundaries and self-respect. One of the most important aspects of maintaining healthy relationships is setting clear and firm boundaries. And this doesn't just apply to the people around you, but also to how you treat yourself. Stoicism teaches us to respect ourselves and stand firm in our values, especially when others might try to push our limits or manipulate us. When someone is playing emotional games, it's crucial to have the courage to set boundaries. Don't be afraid to walk away from a situation that no longer serves you or challenges your sense of self-respect. If someone crosses a line, don't hesitate to call them out on it. You deserve to be treated with respect, and it's important to communicate that to those around you. Boundaries are not walls. They are a form of self-care and self-respect. They help preserve your emotional well-being and prevent you from becoming a victim of manipulation or games. Setting clear boundaries shows others how to treat you and sends a message that you will not tolerate being manipulated or disrespected. Remember, setting boundaries is a sign of strength, not weakness. It's a way to honor your own values and create relationships that are healthy, supportive, and respectful. When you respect yourself, others are more likely to respect you as well. Segment 11. The power of silence. In moments when emotions run high, and someone is trying to provoke you or draw you into their emotional games, sometimes the best response is silence. This might sound counterintuitive, but in Stoic philosophy, silence can be a powerful tool for self-control and emotional mastery. When someone tries to manipulate you, make you feel guilty, or create drama, don't give them the satisfaction of a reaction. Responding in silence doesn't mean you're passive or weak. It shows incredible strength and control. By remaining silent, you take away the power they have over your emotions. You're choosing to rise above the situation, showing that you are not swayed by their behavior. Silence in this context is not a withdrawal from the relationship, but a strategic choice to preserve your peace and not give in to someone else's games. It sends a clear message that their emotional tactics won't get under your skin. This doesn't mean avoiding important conversations, but rather using silence as a way to stop the cycle of manipulation and regain control of your emotional response. Segment 12. Understanding their motives. While emotional games are never okay, it's also important to recognize that people engage in these behaviors for various reasons. Often, it stems from insecurity, fear of commitment, or unresolved past trauma. In Stoicism, we are taught to approach others with empathy, to try to understand where they're coming from. Understanding the root cause of their behavior doesn't excuse it, but it can help you avoid taking their actions personally. When someone plays emotional games, they may be dealing with their own fears, doubts, or emotional baggage. It's not about you, it's about them and the unresolved issues they're carrying. However, don't confuse empathy with tolerating bad behavior. Just because you understand where someone is coming from doesn't mean you should allow their emotional manipulation to continue. Empathy is about compassion and understanding, but it's also about knowing when to set boundaries and protect yourself from being hurt. Being empathetic doesn't mean you're condoning their actions. It means you're recognizing their humanity while still holding them accountable for their behavior. Stoicism teaches us to practice empathy without compromising our own values or emotional well-being. Segment 13. Protecting your inner peace. One of the most vital lessons from Stoicism is the importance of protecting your inner peace. Life is filled with challenges, emotional ups and downs, and people who may try to disrupt your calm, but the Stoic approach encourages us to prioritize our emotional well-being above all else. Your inner peace is yours to protect. No one, no matter who they are, has the right to disrupt it. This means being mindful of the emotional triggers that others might use to draw you into their games and learning to avoid them. By focusing on what truly matters to you, your values, your goals, your purpose, you can maintain your peace regardless of external circumstances. Protecting your peace doesn't mean shutting people out or becoming cold. It means staying true to your own sense of calm, even in the face of emotional manipulation or chaos. It's about choosing not to let someone else's behavior determine your emotional state. You are in control of your peace, and you have the power to safeguard it. Segment 14. Emotional resilience. Finally, one of the cornerstone elements of Stoic living is emotional resilience, the ability to recover quickly from setbacks and to remain unaffected by negative emotions. Life will inevitably throw challenges your way, and people may try to play emotional games. But emotional resilience is about bouncing back faster, staying grounded, and remaining true to your principles. When someone plays emotional games with you, the Stoic approach is to resist being swept away by negative emotions like anger or sadness. Instead, practice resilience by acknowledging the emotions, letting them pass, and returning to your values and sense of self. Emotional resilience isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about not allowing those feelings to control you or derail your actions. It's the ability to rise above temporary emotional turmoil and stay focused on what matters most. The stronger your emotional resilience, the less power emotional games will have over you. By staying rooted in your principles, you can bounce back quicker and move forward with strength and clarity. Segment 15. Letting go of attachment. One of the central teachings of Stoicism is the concept of attachment and how it can often lead to suffering. As human beings, we naturally form attachments to people, situations, and outcomes, but Stoicism encourages us to view attachment differently. It's not that we shouldn't care or form relationships, but that we should avoid excessive attachment. When you're emotionally tied to someone who is playing games with you, that attachment can be incredibly harmful. It can cloud your judgment and prevent you from seeing the situation clearly. In these moments, Stoicism suggests that you practice the art of letting go, not in the sense of abandoning care or love, but in releasing the need for control over the situation or the person. Letting go of attachment means focusing on your own personal growth and emotional well-being. It means recognizing that you cannot control someone else's behavior, but you can control how much emotional energy you invest in them. Instead of clinging to the hope that they'll change or that the situation will improve, focus on your own development, resilience, and peace. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop letting the attachment hold you back from becoming your best self. Segment 16. Staying true to your values. Stoicism is about living in alignment with your core values. Values like wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. When you're in a relationship where emotional games are being played, it's crucial to stay true to those values. If someone's behavior is consistently at odds with your values, it's important to stand firm and not compromise your integrity just to keep them around. Emotional games can often lead us to question ourselves or doubt our worth. But Stoicism reminds us that our worth is not defined by another person's behavior or approval. When someone's actions go against your values, whether it's dishonesty, manipulation, or disrespect, Stoicism teaches us that we have the responsibility to act in a way that honors our principles. Don't compromise your values to fit into a toxic dynamic. It's better to walk away from a relationship that conflicts with who you are than to continue allowing it to undermine your integrity. By standing firm in your values, you protect your inner peace and create space for relationships that are built on mutual respect and alignment with your principles. Segment 17. Understanding that control is illusion. Another important lesson from Stoic philosophy is the understanding that control is often an illusion. We may believe that we can control the actions of others, or that by reacting a certain way, we can change someone's behavior. However, Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control another person's actions or decisions, only our own reactions. When you're caught in emotional games, this understanding becomes crucial. The more you try to control the situation or manipulate someone else's behavior, the more frustrated you'll become. Instead, Stoicism encourages us to focus on what is within our control, our response. Recognizing that control over others is an illusion frees us from the emotional roller coaster of trying to change or manage someone else's behavior. It allows us to step back, regain perspective, and choose a measured, thoughtful response rather than reacting out of frustration or desperation. In doing so, you avoid getting caught up in mind games, and you preserve your emotional well-being. By accepting what we cannot control and focusing on what we can, we empower ourselves to handle any situation with grace and resilience. Segment 18. Using self-reflection to grow. Self-reflection is a cornerstone of Stoic practice. After an encounter where you feel manipulated or caught up in emotional games, it's important to take time to reflect on how you handled the situation. This isn't about self-criticism. It's about self-improvement. Ask yourself, did I stay calm and centered? Did I allow myself to be pulled into the emotional chaos? Or did I maintain my composure? What could I have done differently? Self-reflection provides clarity and insight into how we can handle similar situations better in the future. Each experience, especially challenging ones, can serve as a lesson in growth. Did you act in a way that aligns with your values? Did you maintain emotional control, or did you react impulsively? By reflecting on these questions, you can learn to respond more effectively and with greater wisdom next time. In Stoic practice, self-reflection isn't about being perfect. It's about becoming more aware of your actions, understanding where you can improve, and striving to do better. Every time you reflect, you take another step toward personal growth, emotional resilience, and living according to your values. Segment 19. Letting go of resentment. Resentment is one of the most toxic emotions we can hold on to. It creates a barrier to peace and emotional well-being, and it often keeps us tethered to the very person or situation that hurt us. In Stoic thought, we're encouraged to forgive, not for the other person's sake, but for our own. Holding on to resentment only continues to give someone power over our emotions, even long after the situation has passed. Letting go of resentment doesn't mean condoning bad behavior or forgetting the harm done to us. It simply means releasing the grip that past events have on us. Forgiveness in this context is an act of liberation. By letting go of the emotional weight of resentment, you free yourself from the negative energy that can cloud your judgment, disrupt your peace, and keep you stuck in a cycle of anger or frustration. In Stoicism, we understand that we can't control how others behave, but we can control our response. By forgiving, we stop letting past grievances control our emotional state. We let go of the burden of carrying those negative feelings and choose instead to focus on our own growth and peace. Forgiving someone isn't about them, it's about freeing yourself to move forward with strength, wisdom, and emotional clarity. Segment 20, Embracing the Journey. Lastly, Stoicism teaches us to embrace the journey of life, including its challenges and difficulties. Life is rarely straightforward, and relationships can often be complicated. We face many trials, from emotional manipulation to the ups and downs of human connection. But these challenges are part of the journey. By practicing Stoic principles, we learn to navigate life's emotional games with resilience and grace. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable of handling future obstacles. Stoicism doesn't promise an easy road, but it provides a powerful framework for responding to whatever life throws our way. Embrace the journey, knowing that each challenge and difficulty is an opportunity to refine your character. It's through these moments of struggle that we can truly learn who we are, what we value, and how to maintain our peace amidst the chaos. The more we practice Stoicism, the more we grow in our ability to face emotional games and the complexities of relationships with composure, wisdom, and emotional strength. With each experience, you become more capable of navigating the emotional landscape of life, remaining true to your values, and keeping your peace intact. Thank you for watching. If this video resonated with you, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated on more content about Stoicism and emotional intelligence. Share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, remember to stay grounded, stay true to yourself, and keep your peace.